Starr. I'm president of the board of directors here at Grand Mesa Arts and Events Center, and we welcome you today to our first virtual artist reception. In this time of the pandemic, we're not able to host events or have the normal reception that we would have for Larry, who is our featured artist here in our Starr Family Gallery. We welcome you to come see Larry's exhibit, as we are going to start being open on Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays from 10 to 2 starting this week. Please follow our Facebook page and our website to see any additional changes or days and times that we will be having as we slowly open our center back up. Now, with no further ado, I'd like to introduce Larry Dumler, who is our artist here. And I'm going to ask him a few questions before he starts you on the tour of his beautiful art. Thank you for being here, Larry.
Oh, thanks so much for having me. It's my pleasure.
Well, we appreciate you sharing this incredible art with us. So tell us about yourself when you came to Cedaredge, when you became an artist, and your retired occupation. I just think it's all fascinating.
Well, I'm essentially a Colorado native. Grew up in Wheat Ridge on the west end of Colorado. I've always loved animals, always been interested in animals, and I've always dabbled in a little bit of art all my life. Starting out with crayons as a kid, and pencils, and later watercolors, and eventually the acrylic paintings that I'm doing now, and the scratchboard. So art is something I've always loved along with the animals, and I've combined the two. I had to take some time out, about 35 years out, to practice ophthalmology in Boulder as my day job to support my art habit. But I retired in 1997 and got to move over here to the beautiful Cedaredge area. We're neighbors, as you know.
That's right.
I think our houses are about 500 yards apart. And I've enjoyed it very much ever since. Lived among the animals over here, and it's been a blessing for me in retirement to do that.
Well, is that part of your inspiration for some of your artwork here, is the beautiful landscape and wildlife we have here?
Of course. And what I brought in, this is about a third of the framed artworks that I have, that I've done. But what I brought in here are essentially all animals that either live in Delta County now or have lived in Delta County. And that's what I enjoy doing the most. I've done a few African paintings as well, but I enjoy most doing paintings of the local wildlife.
Gorgeous. Well, would you elaborate on this scratch board? I find that an interesting technique that you do. And you can show it later too when you're going around your tour.
All right, I will. Scratchboard's a little different. Scratchboard is, instead of black on white like pencil drawing, scratchboard is white on black. You buy the board made up. It has a layer of white clay covered with a layer of India ink. And if you want to draw a white line, you make a fine scratch with a needle or some other sharp object. And so the scratchboards that you see are made up of, some of them, of hundreds of scratches with a needle to produce the white lines.
Yeah, it's quite a finesse, I'm sure.
Scratchboard is not very forgiving of mistakes.
Right.
If you make a major mistake on the scratchboard, there's not a lot you can do about it. But it's interesting to do and fun to do, and it's different.
Well, that's great. Well, okay. Well, why don't we start the tour into our foyer here, and tell us about your gorgeous pieces.
Well, I guess if we go to every painting in the gallery here, the first painting is entitled, Hey Mom, It's My Turn. And while I usually try not to do what I would consider to be cute paintings, in this instance I thought this represented a very important part of life for the elk up on the mesa. You can see it's spring. The grass is green. I'm not very fond of green grass, but it is spring, and Mom is being very vigilant and is taking care of her offspring up on the mesa. Another out painting over here is entitled September Song. It also is located up on the Mesa. In this case, the grass is more fall colors, which I'd rather do. And the bull is bugling. Cow is looking a little bit uninterested at the moment. This painting was sort of inspired in me by a painting by Ken Carlson, who did a painting that looks similar, but I changed actually everything in it. The elk are different than his, the grass is done differently than his, but the general inspiration came from one of his paintings of about 30 years ago.
So all of these pieces here are acrylic. That's your medium.
The paintings are all acrylic. All acrylic. The next painting is entitled Early Morning Hunt. The cougars are, number one, very difficult to paint, and number two, because they're so much the same color, and number two, they're very elusive and very difficult for photographers to get good photos of. So it's hard to find a really good cougar pose, but I was really struck by that one and the lighting on it. So I took a photograph on the hillside up above our house, and the setting is on our hillside and our rocks, but the cougar is from a photograph that I found in a magazine. The next painting is one of my very favorites. It's entitled Headin' North. It's sandhill cranes. A few years ago, sandhill cranes were very much in the news and in the activity around here in the early spring when they migrate, and many of them were flying right over our house as they try and gain altitude to get over the Mesa and go north. The photograph that I used for this was not one of mine. I've taken some, but I found a good photograph in the newspaper, and I reconfigured the cranes to make what I felt was a little better abstract configuration of the cranes. But I think, from my perspective, I think that one came out well. That's one of my very favorites. The next painting is entitled Do I Smell a Rabbit? If you look closely, you can see the rabbit down hiding in the grass. This painting is over 30 years old. It used to hang in one of the hallways in my office in Boulder. And I've enjoyed it for a long time. It's a little different than what I do now, but it's been around quite a while. The next painting is entitled Lucky Mountain Bachelor Club. It's a painting that I did also back in Boulder, and that painting actually took first in the oil and acrylic juried art show, annual art show of the Boulder Art Society. So it's been around quite a long time as well. Two bird paintings on the right. Birds are, for me, easier to paint than animals. Birds are quite easy because they have very defined shapes, they have very defined feather patterns and colors, and that helps in doing paintings. The upper one is a red-tailed hawk that I did quite a long time ago. The lower one is an eagle that I did fairly recently, and I entitled that one Bad Feather Day. If you look closely, the feathers are a little bit rumpled, and the eagle might have even been molting a little bit. In fact, his tail feathers aren't very long at this point. But that's the way he looked at the time. Painting on the right is entitled Before Thanksgiving. And that painting is from right outside my window where I do my artwork. The oak is changing color in early October. I actually did photograph those two turkeys. They were not together. I put them together in the painting. So that really is pretty much all mine from the get-go. The next piece is a scratch board. It's a bobcat. I really have no particular title for it other than bobcat, but it sure looks like a cat, doesn't it? And there are probably, I've never counted the scratches, maybe 200 scratches on that. I don't know for sure.
There's a lot.
There are several more scratch boards. Some of those three I did quite a long time ago. In fact, they were some of my earlier scratch boards. Painting to the right is entitled Call of the Wild. We'll talk more about that, but it's a painting that I did specifically to donate to the Art Center. I'm hoping that there'll be some elk lovers or some elk hunters that might decide they could use that in their den, and so I really hope that that'll be the case. I enjoyed doing it, and I did it specifically for here.
Well, thank you very much, Larry. We appreciate that.
The coyote here is very different than the other coyotes in the paintings. The lighting is different. This is entitled Early Snow. And I tried maybe a little too hard to depict the sagebrush in front and the rabbit brush in the back. Sagebrush is one of the hardest things to paint in the environment. It's amazing. It doesn't look hard when you look at it, but it's extremely difficult. It changes throughout the year. It even changes from one year to the next. This is a painting of a great blue heron, and my eldest daughter took the photograph of the heron. I've seen a lot of heron pictures, and that was one of the best heron photographs I'd ever seen. I thought I needed to paint that with her permission. I added the reeds in front. They were the photograph, but the photograph of the bird is hers. And down below is a scratch board. What else could I call it but double trouble?
Perfect.
This painting is called Into the Shadows. It's two iconic things in Delta County and the Cedaredge area, a mule deer buck and again sagebrush. There's that difficult sagebrush again. But the mule deer buck was a little bit easier. This painting is also over 30 years old, and it hung in the reception area in my office for a long time. I did it in anticipation of my retirement, and I've always viewed it a little bit as allegory the right term? I'm not sure it is, but as it sort of represented me toward the end of my career with the younger guys coming up behind and me getting ready to go off on a different life over near Cedaredge.
That's a beautiful piece. It's one of my favorites, to be honest. Yeah, I love buffalo.
This painting is another one of my favorites. It's entitled Like Mother, Like Daughter. It's a fairly simple painting in many ways. It came from one of the best photographs I've ever seen of a doe and her fall fawn. Not much I can say about it except that it's a simple configuration, but a nice one, I think. Delta County's had a pheasant population in the past. I'm seeing fewer than I used to. I think that's true everywhere with pheasants. But that painting is entitled one of my favorite places. For many years, I grew up in a hunting culture, and for many years I hunted. I no longer hunt. I haven't hunted for about 20 years now. I enjoy seeing the animals, but I did then, and that was a place on a farm in Nebraska, but similar to many farms here in Delta County that I visited many times. Next is a coyote scratch board. Lots of coyotes around here. We've been hearing them almost every morning. Have you been hearing them?
Absolutely.
And so there are a lot around, and they're fun to do. I enjoy doing coyotes. The birds below are gray jays, and the painting is entitled Gray Days, Gray Jays. And I guess it's as much to show off the aspen trees as it is to show off the birds, really. And this last painting originated from a photograph I took many years ago up near a small town called Mesa in northwestern Colorado. I thought the fence gate was terrific, and I needed to paint it. I needed something else in there, so I added a coyote, and I call it, Whose Place Is This?
We can't forget this piece, Larry. We can't forget this one, your newest one.
Yes, behind here is the most recent painting of the whole group. This I finished less than 3 weeks ago, and I entitled this one Black Gold. Black for the bear, gold for the trees. I guess there's only one left up here. A scratch board of a gray wolf. Wolves certainly lived in this area historically. They may wander in and out at times. People have said they have seen them. But a typical scratch board with lots and lots of little needlepoint scratches.
That takes a lot of patience, I would believe. At least it would for me. Well, Larry,
And that's the tour.
that's the tour. We appreciate. Is there anything else you'd like to add?
Well, I have a little story to tell.
Okay.
As I said, I've liked the animals and a bit of art all my life. And in 3rd grade in Wheat Ridge Grade School, where I went through 12 grades, we were studying a project that we would have called then cavemen. And we had to do a project. And I looked around through the classroom and found a piece of cardboard, got out my Crayola crayons, and I did a saber-toothed tiger on the cardboard. And I liked it. I thought it was pretty good. And so when we were done with the study, I picked it up and started to take it home. A girl in the class ran up and took it away from me. And I said, "Hey, wait a minute. I drew that." You said, "It's mine. I brought in the cardboard."
Oh.
She took it with her. And I'm telling you now because it makes me feel good to know that the first serious piece of wildlife art I did is in a private collection someplace.
Oh, no kidding. But you don't know where.
I have no idea.
Well, that is a compliment. Yeah.
But the other thing I'd like to say is, I can't thank you, Cindy, and David, and the Starr family enough for providing this kind of a beautiful gallery for the town. It's a wonderful place that people like us would not have any other place to display things, and it's wonderful. It's so nice of you to do that.
Well,
And I would thank Deborah Schaffer and all the volunteers for helping run the place. And I've got to thank Dale Russell Smith he was really encouraging for me, and he did all the work to hang these, and so, thanks to all of you.
Well, you're certainly welcome. We thank you. I mean, it takes a village to be able to do all of this, and all the wonderful people that still support the Art Center through this tough time right now. But
I do hope that there's somebody that can't live without a bull elk
I
painting
know.
in their
Yes.
house.
Right. So we will be putting that auction for the bull elk on our website. So please visit our website and bid on it. It's going to be a wonderful Father's Day gift for some lucky man or woman, whoever wants
Yes,
it.
whoever.
Yes, yeah. Well, thank you so much, Larry.
Thank you
I
again.
appreciate it. I wish we could give you a rightful artist reception with all the people coming in, but this is the next best thing for the
I'm
time
more
being.
comfortable not in crowds.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for sharing your gorgeous art with us. And thank you all for coming and being with us tonight. We'll see you soon, we hope.